Bonjour à tous and welcome to Learn French with Vincent. This is Unité 5, leçon A. And in this unit we'll discover together le passé composé. So le passé composé is a past tense and it's probably the one that you will use in most of the cases because that's the past tense that we tend to use to express what we've been doing for the weekend or normally the past that is not that far. If you're talking about your childhood or something really far, we will normally use another tense that's called l'imparfait, that we'll see a bit later. So now in this lesson we'll focus on le passé composé. So we'll have now few examples here just to show you first how it goes, okay? So in this first sentence, so I took this manger, to eat verb, okay? Je mange au restaurant. And so if you look carefully, you can see that this sentence is at the present tense, okay? Je mange au restaurant. So I eat at the restaurant, okay? And then here, I wanted to show you what this passé composé form looks like, okay? So you can see that you've got first here the verb avoir, at the present form, okay, so it goes like j'ai, and then the second part, so because that's the main concept of this passé composé. Composé means composed, so you will have two parts, okay, and this is the second part here, and that's what we call participe passé, so past participle, and it goes like manger with an accent here at the end, okay, so we'll see why in a few minutes. Okay, so the rest doesn't change, okay? And then you've got this j'ai mangé au restaurant. Well, it's the sentence, same sentence, but it's at the past tense. So it could be like yesterday, maybe last weekend, okay? Another example here. Tu regardes la télévision, okay? Remember, regarder is to watch, okay? So you are watching the television. Tu regardes la télévision, so that's here the present tense, okay? And so if we want to put the same verb at the past tense, well, basically we've got to respect the same rule that we had previously. Here you see we had avoir, so at the first person for je, and then here we've got avoir at the second person for tu, you, okay? And it's at the present form here, tu as, and then same thing here, you will have to put this participe passé form, okay, past participle, with an accent here because it belongs to the first group. Tu as regardé la télévision. Okay? So of course, I know that many of you will say, it looks so simple, it's not possible to be so simple in French. And that's true. We will have exceptions. And here we've got a good example. So, il va au travail. Okay, remember, va, it's the form at the present tense for the verb aller. Aller is to go, okay? And so we will see that few verbs, we will have to change a little bit the way to construct the passé composé, because here you can see that in the past tense sentence here, we don't use avoir as we did previously, like with manger, j'ai, tu as, with regarder, okay? But we will use être. Okay, il est, and then you can see here, aller, so participe passé, au travail, at work. Il est allé au travail. Okay, and this will be, well, the first difficulty of the passé composé form. So you should really think about the fact that, well, most of the verbs will be constructed with avoir, okay, and the one that you will construct with the être will be the exceptions, so you will have to remember them by heart, of course, okay, so we'll make a list after. But then, so if we want to make it simple, so just to resume the whole thing first, okay, so normally if you want to construct this passé composé form, then the first part that you will have to put is avoir at the present tense, and then the second part will be this participe passé form, okay, that we will see. And then you will get this passé composé, okay? For the exceptions, as I said, we will have to use être at the present form then the participe passé form. So you will get this passé composé. Okay? Now, let's see the verbs that will require être at the passé composé. The first one that we saw in the example that I gave you previously was aller. Aller is to go. Okay? Second one, arriver. Arriver means to arrive. Third one, descendre. Descendre means to go down. Then devenir. Devenir means to become. Then entrer. Entrer, to enter. Monter. Monter, to go up. Mourir. Mourir, to die. Naître. Naître, to born. Partir. Partir, to leave. Rester. Rester, to stay. Retourner. Retourner, to return. Sortir. Sortir, to go out. Tomber. Tomber, to fall. Venir. Venir, to come. Okay? So remember that all these verbs here that we saw will require the verb être at the passé composé form. Okay? So the others will require avoir. Okay? So you can see now that most of the verbs will require avoir, okay? And then these verbs will require être, okay? So let's repeat them one more time. Aller, arriver, descendre, devenir, entrer, monter, mourir, naître, partir, rester, retourner, sortir, tomber, venir. Okay? So, let's see the other group of verbs that will all the time require être. And these verbs are, well, what we call this réfléchi, verb réfléchi, so I was thinking about the reflexive in English, okay? So, se regarder, for instance, okay? So remember that we've got these verbs like, so regarder is to watch or to look, and then when you put this se regarder, well, basically you will have the meaning like to look or to watch at oneself, okay? And all these verbs will require être. Okay, s'appeler as well, to call oneself. Se présenter, to present oneself. So all these verbs, but then more generally, all the verbs constructed with this se form, okay, so to have this reflexive form, will require être. Okay? So now, let's see again one more time, if that's okay with you, the conjugation at the present form of avoir and être, because that's the verbs you will have to use. Okay, so avoir, remember, it goes like j'ai, tu as, il a, elle a, so remember, masculine, feminine. Nous avons, so you can put this little liaison, link between the two. Nous avons. Vous avez. Same thing here. Little link between the two. And then ils ont. So the link as well, the liaison. Elles ont. Alright, so j'ai, tu as, il a, elle a, nous avons, vous avez, ils ont, elles ont. Okay, so it's avoir at the present form. So the form you will have to use for the first part of the passé composé, and then être, je suis, tu es, il est, elle est, nous sommes, vous êtes, okay, little liaison here, little link, vous êtes, ils sont, elles sont. Okay, so one more time. Je suis, tu es, il est, elle est, nous sommes, vous êtes, ils sont, elles sont. All right? And so for the second part, so what we call this participe passé, so the past participle, you get to remember that the first group of verbs, so if you remember, they end with this er, okay, so we had parler, regarder, etc. So the infinitive form, like er, will give you a accent aigu at the participe passé. So for example here, we've got parler. Parler is to talk or to speak. So it ends like here with er. You can see that. First group of verbs, so it will go like parler, like that. The funny thing is that phonetically, they are the same. So infinitive parler. So if you remember, we saw that previously. So, I mean, this combination of two letters at the end of the words normally gives the sound e. Okay, parler, and then past participle, participe passé, parler. Same thing here, regarder, regarder. Okay, and then even the high irregular verb aller, because aller doesn't belong to the first group, even if it ends with er, we saw that previously. But then even this verb will give, well, normal or easy participe passé. Okay, it goes like aller, like that. Okay, so parler, regarder, regarder is to watch, and then aller, aller is to go. Okay, the verbs from the second group, so second group, not all the er verbs, unfortunately, but most of them. Well, it would be quite simple because this er will become i. All right, so you will have verbs like choisir, choisir is to choose, will become choisi for the participe passé form. Okay, finir, to finish, to end, fini, like that. Unir, to unite, uni. All right, so it's not that difficult. Okay, so choisi, fini, uni. After that, the difficulties are for the third group of verbs, so the irregular ones. So it's quite difficult to make some groups and subgroups, but then we can have few examples here, like connaître. Connaître is to know, okay, and it will give you connu. Okay, voir, like OIR, will become vu. All right, then verbs like partir, okay, even if it doesn't belong to the second group, it will give you parti, okay. Rire, IRE, it will give you ri, okay, partir to leave, and then rire to laugh, okay. Écrire, to write, so IRE will give IT, écrit, okay. Remember that even if you've got this final T, you don't pronounce it, so it goes like écrit, okay. Dire, IRE as well, will give you dit, same thing here, IT, but then you pronounce it I, okay. Écrire, to write, dire, to say. And then mettre, to put, so E-T-T-R-E will give you this I-S, mi. Same thing here, final S is not pronounced. Mi, okay. And then prendre, so E-N-D-R-E will give I-S, pris, okay. Same thing here, you don't pronounce the final S, okay. So let's see that again. So when you get this être, it will go like U, connaître, connu. Then when you will have this OIR, it will give you U. Voir, vu, okay? IR, I. Partir, parti. IRE will give you I. Rire, ri, okay? IRE here, IT. But then phonetically it's I as well, because you don't pronounce the final T, okay? Écrire, écrit. IRE, IT, same group. Dire, dit. Okay, then E-T-T-R-E will give you this E-S, but then you don't pronounce the S, so you get I. Mettre, mi, and then E-N-D-R-E, I-S, but then same thing here, the sound I. Prendre, pris. Okay, so this is normally the difficulty of the passé composé, to remember the participe passé form. Okay, in most of the cases I tend to tell my students that, well, they should learn them by heart, especially the irregular ones, because after that, I mean, the regular ones are quite easy to handle. But anyway, it's your shot. So let's see a few examples now. So if we take the verb parler, so parler, to speak or to talk, so it goes like j'ai parlé. Okay. Tu as parlé. Il a parlé. Elle a parlé. Nous avons parlé. Vous avez parlé. Ils ont parlé. Elles ont parlé. So if you look at it, it's not that difficult, you know. As I said, the only thing first that you should really remember, it's the verb avoir, but then I assume that at this level now it should be okay for you. And then you get to, after that, construct it and put this participe passé form. And for the regular verbs like parler, it's quite easy, and phonetically it's the same. So j'ai parlé. Okay? Let's see now a few things that you get to remember. So if you construct the passé composé form with the verb être. Okay, so we saw the exceptions, I mean the verbs that are constructed with être. Okay, you will have to remember one important thing. If you've got here the example of il est allé, okay, so you can see that aller goes like that without anything after. But if you look at the feminine form, elle est allée, so you can see that the difference between the two is that I've been adding this little e at the end. So this is the thing that you will have to remember if you construct this passé composé form with être. You will have to put at the end of this participe passé form something according to the gender. So in that case, it's the feminine form. You will have to put e at the end, okay? Or, let's continue. If you've got the plural form like here, il, okay, masculine plural, and that's important, you will have to add this s at the end. And logically, for once in French, if you've got the feminine plural form, so elles here, elles sont allées, you will have to add first this e, so for the feminine, and then s for the plural. Okay, so that's the one, I mean, important thing that you will have to remember if you want to construct this passé composé form. Okay, keep in mind one thing. If you want to use French orally, so if you want only to talk, the good thing here, listen to me, il est allé, elle est allée, ils sont allés, elles sont allées. So the good news for you is that even if you write them differently, you will pronounce it the same way. So phonetically, it doesn't change at all. Okay, here you've got aller, aller, even if you've got the final e, you don't pronounce it. Aller, even if you've got the s. Aller, even if you've got this es. Okay, so doesn't change. But if you want to write correctly, you will have to remember that you put this final e when you've got a feminine form, so feminine singular form. You will have to put this s if you've got the plural form, so masculine plural. And you will have to add this s if you've got the feminine plural form. Okay? Continuons. So, if we have the full thing for aller, it goes like je suis allé, tu es allé, il est allé, elle est allée, nous sommes allés, vous êtes allés, ils sont allés, elles sont allées. Okay? Let's see as well an example for all these reflexive verbs. Je me suis présenté. Tu t'es présenté. Il s'est présenté. Elle s'est présentée. Nous nous sommes présentés. Vous vous êtes présentés. Ils se sont présentés. Elles se sont présentées. Okay? So, the thing that we've got to keep in mind is, in most of the cases, you will have to use this avoir at the present form, then this participe passé form, and you will get this passé composé. Okay? In some cases, for the verbs, so the list of verbs we saw, and it's not a long list, so try to remember it. And all the reflexive verbs, you will have to use this être at the present form, then the participe passé. Then you will get this passé composé form. That's it for this lesson. You can go on YouTube/Imagier, and then you can find the next lessons and the previous lessons as well. And if you want more material, imagier.net. Have a great day. Bye bye. Bonjour à tous and welcome to Learn French with Vincent, and this is Unité 8, leçon E. And in this lesson, we'll discover together l'imparfait. So we saw previously le passé composé, so this past tense that we use quite often. And this is the second one, so l'imparfait. And in this video, we'll see together the first part, l'utilisation, so when do we use l'imparfait? Okay, and then the second part will be la formation. So how do we build, how do we construct this imparfait form? Okay, so, but then let's focus now on l'utilisation. So when do we use l'imparfait? And then the first situation when we will use l'imparfait will be if you want to describe something in the past. Une description dans le passé. Okay, so if you want to describe something in the past, like in this example here, la pièce, the room, était, so that's the verb here. The verb is to be, okay, and it's the imperfect form, était, grande, big, et sombre, dark. Okay, so in that case, you want to describe the room, then you should use l'imparfait. Second situation, une habitude dans le passé. So a habit, something that you are used to do in the past, okay? And the example is je partais, partir is to leave, okay? And it's the imperfect form here. Le matin, the morning, à 8 heures. Okay, so in that case, you want to say that it's an habit, something that you do in the past, then you should use l'imparfait, okay? Other situation when you will need to use l'imparfait, une répétition dans le passé. Okay, so répétition, you understand, something that repeats itself dans le passé. The example here, nous allions tous les soirs au restaurant. Okay, so aller is to go, tous les soirs, okay, so every evening, au restaurant. All right, so something that you do and that repeats itself in the past. And then, if you want to say something that lasts, durer is to last, in the past, dans le passé, then, in that case, this sentence is quite interesting because I wanted to make the difference between the use of the imparfait here, okay, and then here you've got the passé composé form, all right? So, je regardais la télé, so la télévision. All right, so in that case, you tend to use, of course, l'imparfait because it lasts a while when you watch TV. So if it's a movie or something like that. When tu as appelé, okay? So appeler is to call on the phone, for instance, okay? So in that case, you want to make the difference between something that happens and it's an action. So tu as appelé, okay? And then here you use l'imparfait, well, because it lasts longer. Okay, so je regardais la télé quand tu as appelé. All right? And then we've got another structure. So if you want to insist on the fact that something lasts and then something continues, then we've got this structure. Être, so it's to be, être en train de, okay, and then you will put l'infinitive form after that, so the basic form. All right, so an example here as well. So I wanted to make the difference as well with, you know, between the passé composé form here. Je n'ai pas répondu. Répondre is to answer, okay, car, because j'étais en train de faire mes devoirs, okay? So faire mes devoirs, to do my homework, okay? And then in that case you use this structure j'étais en train de, because you want to say that, well, it lasts, okay? It's quite long. It's not something that will take 1 minute or 2 minutes, but it's longer than that, okay? So that's the reason why we use this j'étais en train de faire, so était en train de, as we saw here. Okay, so you will have to use this verb être, okay, but then at the imparfait form, of course. Okay, so, and then one thing that you should keep in mind is that être, so to be, croire, to believe, penser, to think, savoir, to know, are often, and it's quite important, souvent, often, so it's not always, okay, because it's not possible to say always, especially if you're talking about French grammar, okay, but often you use them at l'imparfait form, okay. Now let's see how to construct this imparfait, okay. So I've been taking some verbs from the first group and then the second and the third group, okay? If you remember, we've got 3 groups of verbs in French. So the first one, regarder, so is to watch, okay? And then I've been putting this nous form at the present. For a good reason, you will see why a bit later. So you should know the present form of regarder, and it goes like nous regardons, so that's the present form, nous regardons, okay? For the second group, I've been taking finir, finir to finish, to end, okay? Same thing, you will put this nous form at the present, nous finissons, okay? And then for the third group of verbs, I took prendre, prendre is to take, okay? And it goes like nous prenons. Alright, so nous regardons, nous finissons, nous prenons. So the reason why I wanted you to see the nous form is just because that's the form we will use to construct the imparfait. Okay, so the thing will be to take away the ending of nous, and the ending of nous, it's ons, like you saw here, here, and here. So the idea is that this ending, you will take it away, okay? Then, that's the thing we will keep. Regarde, like that, without the ending for nous. Finisse, without the ending for nous. And then prenne, without the ending, okay? And after that, you will add the endings for l'imparfait. And they will be like for je, AIS, for tu, AIS, for il or elle, AIT, for nous, IONS, for vous, IEZ, and for il, elle at the plural, AIENT. Alright, so now if you, or if we talk about the pronunciation, the good thing is that this will be pronounced e, this will be pronounced e, obviously because you write it the same way, this will be pronounced e as well. So final S and final T are not pronounced, and this is pronounced the same way. And the good news is that this form, A-I-E-N-T, is pronounced E as well. Okay, so we've got E here, E, and then E. Okay, so that's quite easy to produce. I mean, it's not, normally it's not a big difficulty for the students to make this E sound. Okay, and then for nous, it will be, so if you remember correctly, so final S is not pronounced here. okay? And then this on, so it's a nasal and it goes in your nose and it goes like on, all right? So you don't hear any n, so it's really on, okay? When you add this e before, okay, you will get the y sound. So you get yon, yon, that's the full form, okay? Yon. And then ye here, okay? So yon, ye, all right? So now, je regarde. And then so that's the full form that you will have. And then you will pronounce it, je regardais. All right? So if we have the example for finir, it was finisse. Remember this form that we got from the new form of the present. Okay, so finisse, and then you add est. Je finissais. All right? And then the last verb we had was prendre, if I remember correctly. Yes? And it was prenne, okay, the form that we got when we took away this ons ending from the present, okay, so prenne, and then you add your ending, je prenais. Okay, so let's see how it goes for all the forms. So je regardais, so it's regarder, to watch. Tu regardais, il regardait, elle regardait. Nous regardions, vous regardiez, il regardait, elle regardait. Okay? So remember, regardait, 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 and then as well, regardait. And after that, you've got this ion, as I said, regardions, and then ier, regardiez. All right? Let's see finir now. Je finissais, tu finissais, il finissait, elle finissait, nous finissions, vous finissiez, il finissait, elle finissait. Okay, so same thing here. Have a look. Finissait, 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 same form. And then finissait here, same form. I mean phonetically, okay? And then ion, finissions, and then finissiez. All right? And the last verb we had with to take, prendre. Je prenais, tu prenais, il prenait, elle prenait, nous prenions, vous preniez, il prenait, elle prenait. Okay? So remember that in that case you will have to really pronounce the like a prenait. All right? So same thing here, final S not pronounced. Je prenais, tu prenais, il prenait, final T not pronounced, so the same form, okay? And then plural, as I said, prenait as well, okay? And here, prenions, preniez. Okay? And then of course, avoir and être can be in some cases quite tricky. So that's the reason why we'll take a few minutes to watch or to have a look at them. The first one, avoir, and well, it's not that tricky at all because it goes like that. J'avais, tu avais, il avait, elle avait, nous avions, vous aviez, ils avaient, elles avaient. So it is quite easy. Honestly, it is quite easy. Just try to remember, especially if you want to use it only orally, then it's quite easy because it's avait, and avait, remember, okay? So j'avais, final S not pronounced. Tu avais. Il avait, final T not pronounced. Nous avions, let's make this beautiful liaison here. Nous avions, okay? Vous aviez, same thing here, a little liaison. Ils avaient. Elles avaient, okay? And then let's have a look at être. J'étais, tu étais, il était, elle était, nous étions, vous étiez, ils étaient, elles étaient. Okay? Same thing, not that difficult at all, and especially if you want to pronounce it, it's not really difficult. J'étais, okay? Remember, here we've got accent aigu, so it goes like et, all right? J'étais. Okay, tu étais, il était, elle était, nous étions, little liaison here to make it more beautiful, nous étions, okay, final S not pronounced, remember, vous étiez, same thing here, little liaison, and then ils étaient, liaison as well, elles étaient, all right, That was it for l'imparfait. If you're not sure or if you've got few doubts again, don't be afraid to watch the video one more time. So this is the channel here, youtube.com/imagier if you want more videos. And then the website imagier.net. Don't be afraid to send me a message. Tell me what you think about the video. Okay? Have a great day. Bye bye. Bonjour à tous and welcome to Learn French with Vincent. This is Unité 8, Leçon F. And in this lesson, we'll work together on le passé composé et l'imparfait. So, I just introduced this imparfait form in the previous lesson, and we saw the passé composé, well, a long time ago in a way. No, still, the thing is that normally with students, when they've got these two forms, so after having introduced this imparfait form, it's usually quite tricky and difficult to know exactly when to use le passé composé and l'imparfait. Okay, so that's the reason why I thought it might be useful to just spend a few minutes with this video and just try to work a little bit on that and see if things and uses are okay with you. Okay, so let's start now. So in this video, first I will focus on l'imparfait, so when should we use l'imparfait, and then after that le passé composé. Okay, so the first thing that will refresh will be l'imparfait. Okay, so l'imparfait, remember that you will use it when you want to describe something in the past. Okay, so the example I took, la pièce était grande et sombre. Okay, la pièce, the room, grande, big, sombre, dark. Okay, so in that case you use être, to be. All right, and then you use it at the imparfait form to make this description. Okay, the second use will be something that you have, so une habitude, it's an habit or something that you are used to do. Okay, so une habitude dans le passé. So the example, je partais le matin à 8 heures. Okay, so in that case you want to insist on the fact that it's something that you tend to do every morning. Maybe je partais le matin à 8 heures. Okay, so not so far from this habit concept is something that will repeat or that did repeat itself in the past. Okay, une répétition dans le passé. So if you want to express or to well, say something that repeats itself in the past, then in that case you should use l'imparfait. The example, nous allions, okay, so aller, to go, tous les soirs, okay, so every evening, au restaurant. Okay, so in that case, you should definitely use the imparfait form. Okay, nous allions tous les soirs au restaurant. All right. Another use would be une situation qui dure dans le passé. Durer is to last. Okay, so in that case, I did write this sentence with the two forms. So here you've got the imparfait form, and here you've got the passé composé form. Okay, and then we tend to use both here just to make, well, clearly the difference of use of them. So the first one, je regardais, regarder is to watch, la télé. Okay, so je regardais la télé quand, when, tu as appelé. Appeler is to call, okay, on the phone. Quand tu as appelé. All right, so we want here with this sentence here to use the imparfait form because it lasts in the past. Okay, so when you watch TV, maybe it won't last 1 minute or two, but a bit longer than that. Okay, and then tu as appelé, well, it's an action, something that doesn't take too long if you compare it to the previous verb here. Je regardais la télé. Okay, so that's the reason why here je regardais la télé will be used at the imparfait form because it lasts longer than the other one. Okay, tu as appelé. All right, and then another structure that we can use as well if we want to insist on the fact that something lasts and something continue. Okay, pour insister sur la durée et continuité, then the structure is être en train de, and then you put your verb at the infinitive form here. So infinitive form is the basic form of the verb. Okay, so être, so that's the verb être that you should conjugate at the imparfait form. Okay, and then same thing here. I wanted to make the difference between the two. So here you've got this passé composé. Je n'ai pas répondu. So répondre, to answer. Okay, maybe someone was calling on the phone. Je n'ai pas répondu. Okay, car, because, j'étais en train de faire mes devoirs. Faire mes devoirs, to do my homework. Okay, so j'étais en train de faire mes devoirs. So in that case, you use this structure. So être en train de, because you want to insist on the fact that, well, it takes a while to make them. Okay, j'étais en train de faire mes devoirs. All right. Now, le passé composé. So, le passé composé, well, the first use, of course, of le passé composé, it's une action, an action qui s'est passée, that took place avant le moment présent. So, before the present moment, the example that we could have here, je suis en retard parce que j'ai marché trop lentement. Okay? And here, well, the first part here, je suis en retard, I am late. It's the present. Okay? And then you want to, well, give the reason why. Parce que, because, j'ai marché, so marcher is to walk, okay? And this is the imperfect form, okay? Trop lentement, too slowly, okay? Je suis en retard parce que j'ai marché trop lentement. Then, une action dans le passé qui a des limites temporelles. Okay, so it's an action that took place in the past, all right, but then you've got some clear limits when it started or when it ended. Okay, and then the example here, dimanche dernier, j'ai dormi toute la journée. Dormir is to sleep, okay, so this is here the passé composé form, toute la journée, all day long. Okay, so you've got clearly a limit, toute la journée, you know exactly when it stopped, all right. Une action qui est terminée, okay? So clearly here, if you want to introduce your birth date, then je suis né, okay? So it was an action in a way, okay? But still it's finished. So le 16 juin 1970, okay? Je suis né, so that's the reason why here you will use this verb naître, okay? Je suis né le 16 juin 1970. Une histoire composée de plusieurs actions. Okay, so if you've got several actions, okay, in a story, then normally you should use le passé composé. For instance, hier, yesterday, je suis rentré, I came back home, okay, rentré, je suis rentré, j'ai préparé à manger, etc., etc., okay, so orally you will explain to a friend or to a colleague what you've been doing yesterday, okay, you want to introduce these actions, okay, and in that case, that's the tense that you will use, the passé composé, all right? If you want to speak about an event of the past with, for instance, hier, yesterday, le mois dernier, last month, ce matin, this morning, cet après-midi, this afternoon, dimanche midi, so dimanche is Sunday, okay, midi, noon, jeudi, Thursday, matin, morning, okay, so with these structures, and if you're talking about an event, an action, okay, in that case you definitely should use le passé composé. Okay, so of course these are examples. Okay, we've got so many others that I didn't have the, well, I didn't want to put everything in this page. All right, so if you want to use, and this is quite important, negative form, okay, connected to the present form or the present. For instance, if you want to say that, so je n'ai jamais fait de patinage. Patinage is ice skating. Okay, you want to say that you never did ice skating. In that case, well, you should use le passé composé form. Okay, je n'ai jamais fait de patinage. Oops, I should put something instead. It's not a virgule, it's point. It should be point. Sorry, it was a little mistake here. Okay, but still, je n'ai jamais fait de patinage. Okay, same example here. Il n'a jamais eu de chance. Okay, avoir de la chance, to have luck. Okay, il n'a jamais, never eu de chance. So in that case, you should put that at the passé composé form. Okay, and then, well, same thing. Nous n'avons pas eu de chance. All right. In that case, it's with pas and not never, but it's clearly the same meaning. Nous n'avons pas eu de chance, and in that case you should definitely use here the passé composé form. Okay? So of course avoir and être can be quite tricky, so that's the reason why we'll take few minutes to see them, and we'll start with avoir. Okay? This is the imparfait form. J'avais, tu avais, il avait, elle avait, nous avions, vous aviez, ils avaient, elles avaient. And next to it, we'll put the passé composé form. J'ai eu, tu as eu, il a lu, il a eu, sorry, elle a eu, nous avons eu, vous avez eu, ils ont eu, elles ont eu. Okay, so let's take 1 minute to see them one more time. J'avais, final S not pronounced. Tu avais, same thing. Il avait, final T not pronounced. Elle avait. Nous avions, little liaison, final S not pronounced. Nous avions. Vous aviez, same thing here, little liaison between the two. Ils avaient, so remember, even if we've got this A-I-E-N-T, well, we don't pronounce it, or we don't pronounce this E-N-T, so we get avait, okay, phonetically. Ils avaient, okay, and then elles avaient. And now for the passé composé form, so if you remember clearly, we use the verb avoir at the present form, then we put this participe passé form, so it does mean that it will be the same all the time. That's the reason why we see it here, okay? And this is pronounced, so it's an exception because normally you should pronounce it differently, but, so it's an exception, it is pronounced U, okay? U, that's the way you should pronounce it. So, j'ai eu. Tu as eu, il a eu, elle a eu, nous avons eu, vous avez eu, ils ont eu, elles ont eu. Alright? So, j'ai eu, tu as eu, il a eu, elle a eu, nous avons eu. Okay, so here you can see that we make double liaison. Nous avons eu. Okay, same thing here. Vous avez eu, ils ont, and then here as well, tu. Ils ont eu, elles ont eu. Alright? Let's see être now. And it goes like j'étais. So same thing here. We'll start with the imparfait form. Tu étais, il était, elle était, nous étions, vous étiez, ils étaient, elles étaient. And then the passé composé form. J'ai été, tu as été, il a été, elle a été, nous avons été, vous avez été, ils ont été, elles ont été. Okay, so let's take 1 minute again to pronounce them. J'étais, so final S not pronounced. Tu étais, same form. Il était, elle était, final T not pronounced. Here, little liaison and final S not pronounced. Nous étions, vous étiez, ils étaient, liaison as well here, and then remember, this is not pronounced. Elles étaient. Okay? Then, so same rule as we saw for avoir. So you've got avoir here at the present form, and then you've got this participe passé form, so that will repeat itself every time, and it's pronounced like été, été. All right, so j'ai été, tu as été, il a été, elle a été. So here, double liaison, nous avons été. Vous avez été, same thing here, double liaison. Vous avez été. Ils ont été. So same thing here. You get first the liaison z, and then you get the t. Okay? Ils ont été. All right? Ils ont été. Elles ont été. Okay? I hope it was clear. If you want more videos, then youtube.com/imagier, and then if you want to send me a little message and check more things, more material, it's here, imagier.net. Have a great day. Bye bye.